Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It's your boy Crypto Siege with another day in life, in the crazy life that is cryptocurrency. Gosh, guys, I told you, my last video I told you I mentioned that we were going to be really hammering down on our businesses, especially on network marketing business. That's why we've been away from the YouTube for a bit. Really wanted to close out this month strong, and things are on track to do that. So we're really happy and excited about that. For sure, next month we're going to hop on it again as well. But I wanted to shoot this video for you guys just to kind of I know that a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space may be a little bit panicked, may be worrying just like what in the world is going off. And I can tell you guys that this is a typical thing. If you look back to the history of Bitcoin in 2014 and check the charts, if you're a pattern guy, if you're a TA guy, you would notice that the same type of thing happened, probably just not, people aren't paying attention to it. But in any case, I'm here to say, listen, do not panic, understand what's going on in the marketplace. We believe 100%, obviously, in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And if you are one of those, it's just a matter of doing one of two things. That's either holding on, or if you happen to do a little bit with the swings, if you're someone who can, maybe dollar cost average in on the dips and, take a little bit off on the swings as they go up, you can do that if you're into doing that. I probably will learn or look into that more, but right now I believe in buying in the dips, quite simply, buying the dips and, buying red and selling green primarily is the deal. But primarily just holding through stuff. Like now, I know that you can, you could take some off the top 10% here, 5% there. You could say, well, I bought a certain amount of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was 6,500, and now Bitcoin is 6,800, and you could take some off there. That way, hold on to that profit, and then until the next dip comes. Right? I mean, that's a strategy, right? So. That's something to look in as well. I know we just put a couple grand in, and just some in Bitcoin, some in Ethereum, and some in Ripple, just to kind of get things, just to add into the market, increase our share, if you will, increase our position into the marketplace. We decided to do that, but yeah, so that's the deal there. That's what we did, and we're just more excited than ever. I think Bitcoin was under 6,000. It got down to 5,800, but I just want to point out to you that there's some interesting times, and you got to pay close attention to who you're paying. You really got to really pay close attention to who you're listening to in terms of this space. They say I love this article here. It's very interesting because what it is, it's Bitcoinist.com. And he is doing an article about a guy who did an article in Forbes, right? And so you really got to have to kind of pay attention to who you're listening to, right? Because people write things, right? And then people make money, right? And so that's the difference. People write things, and then people make money. And then some of those people who make money write things. And so you have to pay attention to who you're listening to. It's really, really important. So this article, I'm going to read just a little bit of it. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know who Matthew Hrones is. But obviously he's a contributor to the Bitcoinist magazine or article or publication. He says Bitcoin hasn't lost its way, it's just getting started. And I agree 100%. Bitcoin has seen a massive decline in 2018, and it looks like it may get worse before it gets better. It is leaving investors grasping for reason why the world's top crypto is falling so hard, with some wondering, could this be it for Bitcoin, right? That's a good headline. That's a good way to start, right? So you got the headline up here, then you got the sub-headline. Good stuff there, my friend. Very good. Has Bitcoin lost its way? Well, interest in Bitcoin and cryptos in general reached a frenzy pitch in December of last year as mainstream media sources scrambled to cover the digital currencies meteoric, something like that, rise to an all-time high of nearly 20,000. Since then, however, that surge has lost much of its momentum as prices meteoric rise, meteoric, something like that. Rise as prices continue to decline. That surge has lost much of its momentum as prices continue to decline. So it's an interesting thing, right? So, like people made money during that time, right? You know, that 20 going all the way down, people make money, right? Because there's a way to make money on the dips as well, right? So you got to just remember that. And so if you're just the average retail investor looking at just starting the cryptocurrency, right? You know, you go to coinmarketcap.com, you go to Live Coin Watch, and you know, check for reds, right? So when things are red, you buy in. If you're in a position to do so, you buy in. You kind of chart that position that you bought in. Like I said, if you bought it in at 6,500, if it's down to 6,200, then you've lost money, right? So you decide either to hold on to the bidder in or sell off. In my opinion, we're not selling off, right? So we're waiting for it to rebound, and when it gets to 6,800, perhaps we take that 300, and that's profit now, right? And you wait for it to go below 6,500 or go below 6,200 or get to 6,000, right? And then maybe you buy in again because now you're buying in at 6, right? So that's making more money, right? So I love the cryptocurrency and I love Bitcoin, and if you believe it's here to stay, maybe you don't even do any of that, you just hold through. Now, you don't have to just hold through, but maybe you just hold through. If you're not interested in charting and looking every day to see where it is, just hold on to it, right? That's what we do as well. Although Bitcoin continues to appear in the mainstream media spotlight on a near daily basis, the focus has shifted to the price decline as well as speculation on just how low the cryptocurrency could go. It has caused many commentators, experts, and investors to wonder, has Bitcoin finally fallen off the map, or will we look back at the first half of 2018 as just another one of its mini dips on the way to the moon? I am in that argument. I'm on that side of the argument. In a recent article in Forbes, and the latter side of that argument, in a recent article in Forbes, if a recent article in Forbes is any indication, we may as well pack it in right now. This is written by Peter Tchir. The piece attempts to point out the various reasons the author feels that crypto appears to be imploding. Unfortunately, with all due respect, says Martin, most of the arguments made lack substance and in some cases understanding the subject matter. Matthew, not Martin. Matthew, forgive me, Matthew. Right? Inefficient means of exchange is one of his arguments. Right? As much as I love Bitcoin, I am also a realist. True. At the height of Bitcoin mania, it was taking hours, even days for transactions. I remember the days when it took hours for transactions. I remember that. I remember paying $20 and $30 for transactions. I do remember those times. But as Matthew intelligently points out, the current Bitcoin landscape is much different now, something the author at Forbes fails to take into account, with Segwit posting close to 38% adoption in recent weeks, and the Lightning Network, which is the scaling capability of Bitcoin, growing to more than 2,600 nodes and more than 5,300 channels. Bitcoin transaction times and fees have been reduced exponentially. In fact, just the other day, a single Bitcoin transaction worth more than 300 million was confirmed with a transaction fee of 4 cents, right? And so, like I've said before in my videos, if you guys have listened to my videos before, it's not about Bitcoin, it's about advancing technology. It's about blockchain technology. It's about a bunch of smart guys in computer sciences having come because of Satoshi, having come across this type of science, this type of technology, and then there's people hopping on wanting to improve the technology. That is the deal. The deal is that it's the advancing technology always wants to do something. It always wants to improve upon itself. Always. Advancing technology always wants to get better. And that's what Bitcoin is. That's what the cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is. It's a way to improve technology. And when that's there, when that challenge of getting better presents itself, it takes off. It's just a matter of time. It's no different than the internet. None. Yeah, trust me, there was a point in time in our world where the internet was considered the antichrist. The internet was, no one was going to know who's going to get on the internet. I mean, who's gonna try to tackle the World Wide Web? What is the World Wide Web? How does the World Wide Web work? All of these things, and this is no different. This distributed ledger is an advancement in technology, and when they present themselves, they always look to improve upon themselves. Your and our situation is, are we willing to participate and take advantage of it? There were people who participated in the dot-com era and took advantage of it. Some lost money. Lots of people made lots of money. But the people who stood by, do you think? That's the thing that drives me crazy, is people think because if they stand on the sidelines that they're safe. And that's not true. That is not true. And when it comes to making money, standing on the sidelines is a losing proposition. Getting in a space when it comes to making money and losing money, you still win. Why? Because you learn from that. You learn from that. Right? We have a saying, when we talk to our team, we always say, we don't lose. We either win or we learn. If you're standing on the sidelines, you can't win. There's zero probability of winning. There's zero probability of winning. And trust me when I say it, I'm going to read another article to you. You know, old money is wanting you and I to stand on the sidelines. That's what they want. You got to get that. Right? You know, institutional money is coming, and I'll prove that to you here a little bit later. But it's coming. And there's a reason why it's coming. Yeah, well, it's market manipulation 100%. There's always going to be a little bit of market manipulation, always. It's just the way that is. Will the regs cut down on it and get it to come down some? Will the SEC and Alphabets and all those FTC and all those people who do that stuff, will they curb it some? Absolutely. But it's always going to be there. The question is, well, are you going to learn the game and participate, right? Learn where you fit into the game. Some people fit into this game as just someone who's going to buy it and hold it. Some people fit into the game where they're going to buy the swings, right? They're going to trade on those swings, right? Some people on that. Some people feel like they fit in on that day trading thing. That's not me. That is not my thing. But the thing is, you gotta know where you fit in. You know, because standing on the sidelines, you're going to miss a chance to participate in the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Why would you do that? This is, especially when I say, you know, all the time, this is our chance to win. Crypto, Bitcoin, our chance to win. You don't have to go spend $6,000 to get a Bitcoin. You don't have to do that. Just dollar cost average in, just like I did the other day. Put $1,000 in Bitcoin, $500 or $600 in Ethereum, $300 or $400 in Ripple. You know what I mean? Just dollar cost averaging it, right? And you know, I'm gonna do the others, the Cardano and the EOS. Perhaps we'll do those as well. But right now, I'm just kind of sticking with those three and see how things go. So, in any case, I went off a little tangent there, but regulation making it harder to hide wealth from the government. And so that's another argument that the people who are critics of the space of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, they'll use that argument, right? Whenever a so-called expert or official or other talking head starts pontificating on the evils of Bitcoin, one argument that never fails to get trotted out is how people are using Bitcoin to hide their money from the government. That argument, of course, usually segues in with Bitcoin is cryptocurrency or preference for criminals and very bad people argument, right? It's funny too, because Bitcoin wasn't designed to hide wealth from the government. It was designed to allow people to control their own wealth, and that is the challenge. That is the elephant in the room. That is the thing that is driving the banks crazy, because it was designed for you and I to control our own wealth. which means banks make less money that way, which means old money makes less money. That is the overwhelming thing. That's the thing. That's the thing that the critics, who put these people to write these articles for Forbes and shuffle out people on CNBC, right, and CNN to make these incredible arguments, these foolish arguments. That's because they know that this is a chance for you and I, Bitcoin is a chance for you and I to control our own wealth, and they don't want that. That's the bottom line. So it's not about trying to be anonymous. We all know that, it's not as anonymous as people think. It's not. It can be tracked. It always can be tracked. It always can be tracked. The difference is you control your money, right? That's the difference. You control it. There's, not the fees, not the bank fees, not the return check fees, not 0.00001% on your money that you have in the bank. You control your money. That's the issue. That's the issue. And that's why you got to be careful who you listen to. ICOs facing increased government scrutiny equals less demand for Bitcoin, which is, it's really, really ridiculous. Out of all the author's arguments, this one has to be questioning his grasp of the landscape the most, right? The most. In the article, he states there's a window where access to ICOs created a new need to own Bitcoin, but that has slowed. That doesn't make any sense at all. As ICOs have come under these intense scrutiny, basically he's claiming that because of ICOs have come under increased scrutiny, investor interest has slowed, leading to less demand. Granted, governments around the world have been cracking down on ICOs, but even so, interest in such projects continue to flourish. According to ICO data, in the first 6 months of 2018, there have been 885 ICOs launched and more than 5.7 billion, that's what the B, has been raised, compared to 872 ICOs and 6.1 billion raised in the entirety of 2017. So in 6 months, we nearly reached a 12-month last year in terms of raising money for ICO. So that's not stopping, and it's not going to stop. Will regulation weed out the bad guys? 100%. That's why we need regulation, so that they can weed out the scammers and the frauds. And will people lose money? Yes, unfortunately, some people will lose money. But I would humbly submit to you. I would humbly submit to you. That's a learning thing. Successful people, successful business owners, people that are millionaires and multimillionaires have lost money. Right? That you can't have success without some setback and some failures. You can't make tons of money without having lost some money. That's just how it goes. But standing on the sidelines will never get you to the millions if you're interested in making that kind of money. How can Bitcoin make a comeback? Many new people in the space bought Bitcoin during the bull run, resulting in some terrible returns, but this was kind of expected. No asset increases 20x in less than a year without coming back down at some point. The correction was bound to happen. Both Bitcoin can and will rebound in terms of technology. In terms of technology, nothing has really changed. Bitcoin still has the same attractive aspects as it did a year ago, albeit with lower fees, and it is faster. People can still speculate on it, send worldwide payments, buy goods and services, and have true control of their fund. So no, Mr. Cheer, Bitcoin hasn't lost its way. It's just getting started. That's a pretty good article, my friend. Very good. Very nicely done, Matthew. Very true. And obviously, it is very true. So let me point out something to you as well. He makes some good points. Matthew makes some good points. There's another article here on MarketWatch. Bitcoin's plunge means one thing. Calls for rallies to 25 by the year end are fading fast. That's an interesting point. I don't buy it. Because, and I'll read it to you, some of the reasons why. Bitcoin's there's that word again, meteoric fall. Bitcoin is on track to lose 70% of its value from its December peak. Some people just can't pronounce some words. Mine's obviously is this meteoric fall. Interesting, right? So this is written by Mark DeCambre. Bitcoin prices have carved out a fresh new turn mid-year extending a downtrend that has taken hold of the world's number one virtual currency since a recent peak in May, and raising doubts about bullish forecasts for the virtual currency. A single Bitcoin on the Kraken exchange was trading at $5,883.36 on Friday. So that was earlier today. That represents a roughly 60% tumble in Bitcoin in the first half of 2018, and a 70-cent plunge from its peak near 20 late in 2017. By comparison, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 1.2% so far in 2018, while the S&P Index on its 0.08 is set for a gain of 2.3%. Just a week ago, one of the staunchest and more vocal Bitcoin proponents, Tom Lee, of Fundstrat Global Advisors, reiterated a prediction that the asset would end the year around 25 during a Bloomberg interview. Bitcoin's foundation's Lou Klassen back in February said Bitcoin would touch 40 by the end of this year in a Business Insider interview. However, the digital asset's current dismal trading actions makes those lofty prognostications for a finish at new records above 20 and beyond questionable. Interesting, right? So these are analysts. These are the T&A guys, technical analysis guys. Here's one guy is quoted as saying, his name is Fawad Razada, I can't base my analysis on anything other than technicals, and right now the charts are looking very bearish. Therefore, as things stand, I have no reason to expect Bitcoin to go to those crazy levels again. That's a TA guy at Forex.com. Another guy says, Robert Schlumer says, another TA guy, technical strategist, you have what is happening and what could happen. And I think if you're using technical, you have to be very truthful about what is happening. Then we have a downturn in place, he said. From my perspective, price is news. Bitcoin needs to show evidence of turning to reinstate bullish calls, said Schlumer, referring to the asset's breach below levels of around 7,000 a few weeks ago. In order for Bitcoin to hit 40,000, this is very important, it would need to surge by about 590% in the following 6 months. Remember that time frame, 6 months. For a finish at 25,000, the asset would need to rise more than 330% by year end. Is that possible? Sure. Bitcoin's bounced by about 240% from its November 2017 low, to a peak at 19,783 within a few short weeks, not a few months, a few short weeks. So from November, it was at its low. And in December, by December, right, it bounced to 19,783 in a few short weeks, according to news and research site CoinDesk. On top of that, the rolling 6-month change for Bitcoin from August to December of last year represented gains of at least 300%. And that's still not it's rolling 6 months, August, September, October, November, December, right? August, September, October, November, December, right? 300%, according to WSJ Market Data Group. So, 300% in 6 months, right? That was done last year. So the reasonable thing to expect perhaps could be just that again in 6 months, to do the same thing and to get to that 25,000. It could do more than that. What if it goes between 590% and 300% and falls somewhere in between there with 400%? Would that be comfortable? Would that be cool? Right? Because it's only going to take 330% to get to 25,000. Now, some people are making some 50,000, 40,000, 100,000 by a year, and we shall see. But the point is this not something that, to get to 25,000 is not something that is unheard of or unlikely because of what it's done in the past. So it's not unreasonable for that to happen. Let's see here. However, fast forward. However, critics argue that last year was marked by euphoria centered on blockchain, the distributed ledger technology that I talked about earlier, that underpins virtual currencies and cryptos like Bitcoin, luring fresh interest in virtual currencies from Main Street and Wall Street alike, and helping to juice sentiment around the assets. So basically, the critics were saying people became enamored. The average retail investor, or the average person, the lay person, became enamored with this stuff, and so that was the reason that caused it to do what it did. Now it says, fast forward to this period, and Bitcoin's current decline in value comes even as the stage for further gains seems set. Institutions, some of which had cast a dubious eye on cryptos, have declared intentions to form trading platforms or invest in blockchain. Institutions, right? Now, you just got to remember, no matter how much money came into the crypto space from 2015 to 2017, it will pale in comparison to what's going to happen when institutional money comes in. We're talking trillions of dollars worth of T. That's what's going to happen for institutions. So, the little frenzy that that people like myself and others, when we got into Bitcoin just months ago, that kind of money there's nothing compared to institutional money that's coming up. And so if this little bit of money caused 330% increase in 5.5 months, what do you think is going to 330% increase? What do you think is going to happen when institutional money comes? And it's coming, because the regulatory stuff is just about to end, and it's coming. So let me read on. Indeed, one of the most prominent investment banks, Goldman Sachs Group, in May announced in a New York Times article that it would launch a cryptocurrency trading desk, guys. Meanwhile, regulatory attention in the nascent sector has helped to bolster its legitimacy as the Securities and Exchange Commission has cracked down on special types of crowdfunding tied to digital coin, but fostered an environment that may facilitate the maturation of Bitcoin and altcoins to Bitcoin, alternative coins to Bitcoin, known as altcoins. Those include Ether, Ethereum, running on Ethereum's blockchain, XRP coin, Ripple, pegged to Ripple, and Bitcoin Cash. Right? Think about that for a second. That is what's going on, right? And it's not just Goldman Sachs. It was another one, a major investment bank, that said that they were, doing this trading desk and or starting to invest in blockchain. So it's coming. It is a backdrop that ought to create a runway higher for Bitcoin, but it hasn't yet. And that is part of the dynamic that has shaken the confidence of those who track virtual instruments that are intended to compete with fiat currencies like the US dollar and the euro. Bitcoin's recent and dramatic depreciation against the dollar has called into question the crypto's commonly touted purpose as a store of value or digital gold, said Elon Glover, CEO of Koalo, a crypto business focused on virtual currencies designed to be less volatile than Bitcoin. Rather than a mere dip, this could very well signal the beginning of an existential crisis for the currency, with investors seriously questioning Bitcoin's first mover advantage. It seems unlikely that the currency will be achieving previous lofty price predictions anytime soon, and certainly not this year, he wrote. To be sure, some of the most ardent fans believe that a jump to a fresh record for Bitcoin before the end of the year remains a genuine possibility. The bull case is that there is still a wave of investors set to emerge. You have to believe that. It just makes sense. People are slow to move. Even the SEC and the alphabet people or institutional monies, they're slow to move. Doesn't mean that they're not moving. They're just slow to move. Right? They're gathering up their funds, right? And preparing to come into this thing big time. Matthew Newton in Markets Analysis, eToro, a crypto brokerage platform, argues that there are still many more entrants to come, even after 2017's introduction to the uninitiated, particularly institutions who would have far great financial power. We've seen what can happen with retail guys. That's like you and I, guys, retail investors, What could we see with institutional inflows? That's exactly what I just said, my dude. There's trillions in cash on deposit in U.S. bank accounts today, and they're like one of the, like you get 0.00001% of your money, and there's trillions in cash in deposit. We're only scratching the surface of Newton says, only scratching the surface. Yes. There's another guy here, Iqbal Godman, managing director at eToro, added that unscientific surveys conducted by eToro in the UK suggest that few investors that heard about Bitcoin during its mainstream, true. Few investors that heard about Bitcoin during its mainstream upsurge in 2017 actually invested. I talked to all my boys. Try to hit my family up. Right, try to let them know what's up. No, nope. None of them bought anything. Not one cryptocurrency. We had a lot. My sister did, but that was the only one. We had a lot of people talk the talk, but very few people walked the walk. Godman said. That's right. Here's a very interesting thing here. Many crypto bulls share this rosy outlook, including Ethereum co-founder Charles Hoskinson via Twitter. What's often missed by the cryptocurrency is going to die broken record media is that so he's making fun. What's often missed by the cryptocurrency is going to die broken record media is that after the next wave of regulation, Wall Street is showing up to the party with all their locked up capital. That's tens of trillions of dollars entering the space eventually. The future is bright, my friends. And I believe that 100%. And so I just wanted to shoot this quick video, guys, just to kind of let you know what is going on. Bitcoin hasn't lost this way. It is, in fact, just getting started. So listen, guys, I've said it once. I'll say it 1,000 times until I get you guys to get it. Old money doesn't want you to win. This is our chance. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind. Are you participating? Here's what I do know. The battle has already been fought for you, and the victory is yours. Will you go get it? We'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.